On this segment of the morning show, Dr. Vic Zimmerman is the superintendent of Monticello Schools. Dr. Zimmerman, good to talk to you, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Seth. Good to talk to you.
Now, I know sometimes it's cloudy in Clinton, but it's sunny in Monticello. So is it sunny in Monticello this morning?
Well, it's sunny as a frame of mind, but it's certainly cloudy. So
now we've got softball, baseball games on tap for today, I do believe. Can you give me an update on the fields? How are they looking over there?
The fields are looking good right at this moment.
Good.
So if the game started at 9:30, we'd be good. We'll see
what
happens this
All
afternoon.
Right. Well, I'm going to be over there for softball this afternoon, so looking forward to that. And at any rate, Dr. Zimmerman, it's always good to catch up with you. I know spring's been pretty busy. Things are starting to kick into high gear. Monticello had an early prom. That was a few weeks ago. The spring sports calendar and spring extracurricular calendar starting to wind down as well. What's been going on with your students here the last few weeks?
Yeah, it's just like you said, busy times. Once spring break is in the rearview mirror, then it seems like we fly to the end of the year with prom, and then we had one act plays in the auditorium, and then all of our sports, and get into the state series for sports, and then all the senior stuff. Honors night is Monday the 9th, and then graduation is the 22nd, I think. It's a Sunday, 22nd of May. So it's going to be June 1st before you know it, and another school year in the books, and head on to the transition of all of our administrators in the district.
Yeah, a lot of transition coming this summer for sure. When is seniors' last day?
So their last day is they have graduation practice like on the 20th of May, and then graduation is the 22nd. So that's kind of how that plays out. But
okay.
I think their finals last day is maybe the 19th or something. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's how that's like.
So they get out about a week earlier than everybody else.
Right. Gotcha. Very good. So a lot of things coming down the pipe for the kids at Monticello High School. And Dr. Zimmerman, let's dive into some more kind of serious conversations here this morning. By the way, anything else going on? You wanted to highlight anything of note, kind of keeping you busy these days that relates to the calendar and such?
So we're just winding down the end of the year. Superintendents are looking at their budgets, seeing if they need to, amend their budgets. Tax bills will be going out probably pretty soon, and we're all working on the budget for next year. So, I mean, it's just a cycle, and been doing it for 19 years. So it's not going to say it's old hat, but I know what's coming next. So that's how it works.
Yeah, does it feel good to be kind of worrying about these, things that are normal for this time of the year again, instead of thinking about COVID and all that stuff, that took up so much of your time the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, this time last year, we were planning to start the school year with no COVID, and the mask mandate got dropped in the summertime, and then right around the beginning of August, end of July, it ramped back up, and this year ended up being worse than last year. So yeah, it's great that COVID's not gone. It's never going to be gone. It's always going to be hanging out there, but we're certainly expecting to have a 100% normal school year next year.
Sure. Well, Vic, let's dive into some of those COVID things that are kind of still lingering right now, and one of those would be the legislature in Springfield passed some legislation that would allow for fully vaccinated teachers to receive any COVID days that they had to use as sick time. They will get those sick days back. Just give us kind of your overview of that legislation and how your school district is handling it, because from what I understand, a lot of schools are kind of taking things into their own hands as it relates to this. So let's just start there this morning.
Yeah, so the original version of that bill that passed the House and the Senate, bipartisan, probably close to unanimously, was for all employees to be able to get their sick days back if they were absent because of COVID. And then the governor vetoed it, and then ran another bill just for vaccinated individuals. And then it also had the final bill has some encouragement for those that are not vaxxed to get vaxxed. So I guess that's been Governor Pritzker's platform from the beginning of COVID is that everybody should be vaxxed. So he wanted to pass a law to try to encourage that. That being said, as superintendents and school districts, so we have the local control to do what we think is best for our employees. And we have 225 full and part-time employees. 95% of them were vaccinated. So we're talking about a pretty small number of unvaxxed employees. So we had a discussion with our union, and then discussion with the board, and decided that we would reinstate all of the sick days for any COVID-related absences, regardless of vaccination status. So we're in the process just today of starting to make those modifications for our employees. We should have that done by the end of the week.
And there's a lot of, from what I understand, there's a lot of kind of clerical things that go into this, and backtracking a little bit. Is that presenting a challenge for you and your staff at all?
Yeah. So the challenge is, we don't know which days were COVID-related absences. So we put together a form, sent it out to all of our employees, had them complete the form with the days that were COVID-related, include documentation, and then submit it by last Friday. So we tried to make it as simple as we possibly could.
Yeah.
So
For sure. Yeah. What, if I remember right, your district was one of the more highly vaccinated districts of the group of soups that I talked to. Am I remembering that right?
I feel like that's the case. I don't really know. I don't really know what the other district vax rates were. We were happy with ours. We hosted a vax clinic for all of the Piatt County school employees here at the Seaver Center, and then we hosted a second vax clinic for the second dose. So we just try to make it as easy as possible for our employees to get the vaccine.
Sure. Superintendent Dr. Vic Zimmerman, our guest on the phone here for this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Dr. Zimmerman, I know you're not going to be here for it. You're retiring at the end of the fiscal school year, but just kind of looking ahead from your experience and what you know about, things looking forward, do you anticipate COVID having much of an impact on the school year next year? How do you feel about those things?
At this time, I don't anticipate COVID having an impact on the school year next year. I would have said the same thing last year, but I think COVID, it's not gone. It'll never be gone. But I don't think we'll have mitigations and those types of things going forward. I think it'll be up to the individual person to deal with it. But
sure,
I'm not the governor, so I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think this thing called an election, I think that may have a little bit of something to do with it. I could be wrong. I heard there's one coming up, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, I think that. I agree with you. It got really political really fast, and when it got political, then it became more difficult for everybody. And I think that if there's an attempt to go back to mitigations and close down businesses and require masking, I think there could be a revolt even in Illinois. So I don't actually foresee that coming. I think if Governor Pritzker wins, I think he's smart enough to know that he did what he could do, and I think going forward, his best bet is to leave it up to the individual person to make their own health decisions.
When it comes to, like you said, it's hard to foresee, a situation where perhaps COVID is instrumental in how school looks next year. But, is this a conversation at all as you transition with Mr. Clapp at the high school, high school principal stepping into the role of superintendent? Are these things at all on what you guys talk about these days, or is it strictly, now school business, and it's probably nice to be that way if that's the case?
So all of our administrators were in on every meeting that we had, and right from March of 2020 going forward, whenever we talked about how we're going to handle COVID mitigations and those types of things in our schools, all of our administrators were involved from day one. So Mr. Clapp was involved from day one, and the other principals and assistants were involved as well, in addition to our faculty and staff member, and then we always kept our parents informed. So there's always going to be something as a superintendent. The last couple of years it was COVID, there's going to be some other crisis in the future, maybe not a worldwide crisis, but something like maybe specific to Monticello or our area. So superintendents have to be ready to deal with whatever comes their way. And I'm confident that Mr. Clapp will be ready, and Mrs. Vogt, who's going to be the superintendent at BMN, I'm confident that she'll be ready to go as well.
For sure, definitely. Well, Dr. Zimmerman, let's take a time out here. Come back and talk some more. Superintendent of Monticello Schools, Dr. Vic Zimmerman, my guest on the phone. Again, the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. More to come on the morning show.
Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton uses the latest technology for positive patient outcomes with a new state-of-the-art CT machine next to our ER. CEO Paul Scarron asking you to find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
When it comes to fire and water restoration, ServPro of Piatt, DeWitt counties can make your emergency or disaster like it never even happened. Find out all the services they provide by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
This is Brad from Gibson Ace Hardware in Clinton, Illinois. Stop in to see us, the helpful place at 114 North Madison Street, Clinton.
Hear Clinton Maroon live play-by-play this season on WHOW, the Big 1520 Daytime. 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and 106.5 in Bloomington Normal all the time. Plus, streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com on the WHOW mobile app and Amazon Alexa. Plus, tune in for a Best of Clinton Sports broadcast every Saturday morning at 10. All brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick, Clinton Athletic Boosters, Clinton Community YMCA, and Midstate Eye.
Get ready for warmer weather with Love It Once More Thrift Store in Clinton. We have summer clothes for the whole family. We will also be having sales all month, so check out our Facebook page or DeWittDailyNews.com. This is Connie reminding you, when you shop and donate to our nonprofit store, you help us help others.
This is Ryan Utterback with Utterback Real Estate. It's that time of year again.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to change my clocks.
No, I mean it's time to spring forward and list your home.
No wonder I've been late all week.
And that's why you're the other Ryan.
Click the Utterback Real Estate icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
You're listening to The Morning Show, streamed by clicking the WHOW live icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence, and my guest on the phone is Dr. Vic Zimmerman, Superintendent of Monticello Schools. And Dr. Zimmerman, let's dive into the teacher shortage a little bit. I've had this conversation with your peers over the last few months, and I don't think that you and I have gotten to it very much. So what is, from your perspective, what is the teaching situation like in Monticello? Are you able to find folks to fill the positions you have open? What's it like there on the ground level where you're at?
Yeah, so we still have applicants for our positions. We've filled all of our open positions, and now we've got a couple more open positions. So if anybody's looking to teach English language arts at the middle school or science at the middle school, we have 2 openings. We also have some openings for teacher aides and a couple of school nurses. The challenge is, when you compare today to like 10 years ago, if we had an elementary opening, we'd probably have 150 applications. Now maybe we get 30 applications instead. And, we try to, everybody wants to pick from the top 10% of the application. So, if you have 150, then you're picking out of 15.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 30, you're picking out of 3. So, the pickings get a little slimmer quicker with less applications. But the legislature and the governor have made some modifications to teaching requirements and trying to make it easier to become a teacher. So that's going to take a couple years for those things to really have an effect. But hopefully in 5 years, I don't know if we'll ever be back to having 150 applicants for an elementary job, but I anticipate we'll have more than more than 30.
Well, a couple of things on that in terms of the teacher shortage. From your perspective, what has caused it? Why are we seeing fewer applicants? Are we just seeing fewer teachers? Are they going somewhere else? What's going on here from your perspective?
Well, teaching isn't as easy as maybe it looks from the outside, and I think that our parents, when we were closed after March of 2020 for the last quarter of the year, and the parents really had to become involved in assisting in the teaching of their kids. I think they ended up with a deeper appreciation of what teachers do on a daily basis. So, that and the fact that, talking about the legislature, 6 or 7 years ago, they passed some legislation that made it harder to become a teacher, and they made it, you had to have specific licensure for specific grades, where prior to that, it was more of a, so like myself, I got a certificate to teach 6 through 12 mathematics when I was a teacher. Well, now you have to have a certificate just to teach 6 through 8, and you need a different one for 9 through 12. I mean, those kinds of things that the legislature thought was a great idea at the time, and all the superintendents told them this is going to backfire. We're going to have less teachers going forward, and that's exactly what happened. So now they're undoing a lot of those things, and then just in general, I mean, there's it's not like we have less people in the country or the world, but it certainly feels like less people are working. I mean, when you see, restaurants and stores limiting their hours and days that they're open because they can't find help. That's, I don't know what all these people are doing. Just kind of laying low, I guess, maybe on unemployment. But there's just overall less people working and trying to enjoy life a little more. I think you can only do that for a certain amount of time till the dough runs out, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, and you talked about the things that the legislature is doing. Is it going to be enough? I'm curious how you feel about that.
Well, it depends on the definition of enough. I mean, they've done what they can do. I mean, we're a great place to work. Monticello is a great place to be. Great town, great parents, great kids. I mean, our kids, do what we ask them to do for the most part. We talk about Monticello kids. We really believe that they're here to get an education, and they respect their adults and teachers and people in their classrooms and in the town. And so hopefully we'll be able to continue to recruit great teachers for our kids going forward.
It's not just a lack of respect for teachers, but just in general, we've seen a decline in the lack of respect for authority, not just from kids, but just people in general. Our society has really gotten to a place where our respect for police and teachers and first responders and those in authority has greatly been drawn back. Is that at all a part of this, you think? Is that at all a cause of the teacher shortage? That people that once maybe considered the teaching profession, they recognize this and say, I don't want to be a part of that environment?
I mean, I'd say that potentially could be a part of it. I would agree that the country and the world's a different place over the last several years with, a lack of respect for other people. Ultimately, I think that people that don't respect other people ultimately don't respect themselves very much. So, I don't know what's going to turn that around. I mean, if you think about the presidency in the country, I mean, it's gone back and forth between reds and blues, and we're just more polarized. So, I mean, somebody needs to hopefully get elected that's, more down the center, and we can all coalesce and kind of come more to the center and get along better. It's easy to sit here and say that, but it's much harder to do in a country this size.
No, I agree with what you're saying there for sure. Dr. Zimmerman, a couple minutes left here with you, sir. Anything else keeping your time busy these days as the school year winds down? Anything on your radar, maybe from a school board level that's coming up? Anything like that come to mind?
No, nothing out of the ordinary. We did replace one of our school board members, Dave Stanko, who'd been on for several years, took a job change and moved his family to Australia. So good for him. So he was replaced with Julie Melton, who's lived in town for 10 or so years and has kids in the school and works at Richland. Very active in the community, and she'll do a great job. So now things are going well with the school board.
All right, very good. Well, Dr. Zimmerman, always good to catch up with you. I'm sure we'll see you around at various sporting events coming up here as the spring season winds down, but always good to catch up with you. Thanks for your time as always.
Yep. Thank you, Seth, and go Sages.
Go Sages indeed. Dr. Vic Zimmerman, Superintendent of Monticello Schools, our guest on the phone. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network news on the way.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in